now that it's certain that Joe Biden is taking over as the president, in terms of foreign policy, what could we expect, especially given the kind of cabinet that he has, proposed? So can you talk us through the cabinet and what you expect from foreign policy?
My real worry is about the only alleged Indian in the cabinet, the vice president, so-called Indian, because she is one of those people who'd sell her own mothers on to a slave trader if she could get ahead in life. Okay, that's both a positive and that's a negative, because India may not be able to afford her price, so she might, move on to the highest bidder, and Pakistan is always known to be a much higher bidder. Remember, Pakistan can always mobilize the Muslim vote in America far more effectively, because Indians in America have this acute inferiority complex. They need to fit in and be whiter than the white man kind of thing. I think that Mr. Cooper, the Coopers at 42, the British comedy, did a very good sketch on it, even though that was set in the UK. It applies even more so to the NRIs you see in America, because they come from a really, what shall we say, a particularly trash section of Indian society. And so the social climbing, the need for social validation and the craze to social climb is far greater. So what happens out here is that the Indian community in America is highly fickle. We can't count on them. The Indian in the cabinet is very, very scary, because I don't think we'll be able to afford her. The problem then arises as to the rest of the cabinet. I don't see a problem with the rest of the cabinet. I think they're all fairly stable people. I think Biden's done a fairly good job keeping out all the crazies. He's not given any of the squad any kind of position. He's not given any of the squad, and by the squad, for our viewers, the four evil witches of the West or East, or whatever it was in Dorothy and the Wizard of Oz. AOC, Alexandria Ocasio, let's just call her AOC, man. I mean, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, Ilhan Omar, the most infamous of the lot, and Ayanna Presley. And apparently there's a fifth one that's kind of joined. I forget her name now, but irrelevant anyway. It's good he's kept them out. I think the real tension, though, is going to come from the people he has chosen on Russia, because he himself is extremely compromised when it comes to China. What you will see with him and China is what we saw with Obama and China. They make a lot of noise saying they're taking on China, taking on China, taking on China, but they do absolutely nothing on China. Instead, they keep trying to focus everybody's attention on Russia. Because remember, for the American liberal, their source of validation comes from Europe. Because Europe is the mother of all their ideas. It's their historical mother in that sense, So this very Eurocentric point of view and looking at Europe's concerns, where even though China is the biggest threat to America, for America, Russia will be the biggest threat because they seek validation from Europe. So what you see is people like Victoria Nuland, who was crucial in engineering the coup in Ukraine, that ultimately led to the Russian annexation of Crimea and all of that. She is now going to be an undersecretary of public affairs. So, it's quite the sheer irony of it that her nomination was announced the same day that he accused Trump supporters of attempting a coup, when Victoria Nuland had done exactly the same thing, and there is a clear phone recording. That's the brilliant part of it. The BBC has published the transcripts of it. A lot of places have published the transcripts of it. CNN refused to do so, which tells you a lot about CNN. But this is where the real danger lies, because with Trump, we had a certain leverage to do what we wanted to do with Russia. That may not exist under Biden. So it will effectively come down to a choose between me or Russia situation, number one. Number two, the problem is going to be with the realignment in the Middle East. And the real element in the Middle East, the problem with that is if Biden starts trying to suck up to Iran now, then you're going to have a huge problem. Because what is going to happen is that it's going to break apart the entire Abraham Accords. Well, it won't break it apart because I think between Saudi Arabia, the UAE, Bahrain, Oman's kind of neutral, and Israel, they've already formed extremely strong bonds. But we need to remember America is what brought them together. And America can also do them apart. I think there will be a lot of resistance to this administration from those 4 Gulf countries plus Israel.
Right.
Which makes it problematic for us because then we don't know what tightrope to walk.
Please remember to subscribe to us and switch on the notifications for this channel. For our other social media links, more content, and to support our work, please visit citti.net. Dhanyavad. Namaskar.